What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going through the thought process of how to go about building your weapon in Battlefield 6. This should be applicable to every single type of weapon in the game, and I'm going to be going through multiple different weapons in this video specifically. However, this will not be an individual gun build just for the AK4D or another one of these weapons. Again, it's going to be a thought process that should be applicable to every single weapon in the game. So, if you want to see specific weapon guides on, let's say, for instance, the Cord or the MP5 or whatever weapon it may be, subscribe to the channel. Should hit the like button and comment down below, what should the first weapon guide I do be? I don't know. Yeah, you guys are going to have to decide that. I see a lot of people love the NVO. Alright, so when building a weapon, there are multiple things to consider. In general, I would recommend kind of ignoring these bars on the right here. I see a lot of people say, oh, Enders, your weapon only has 38 control or 46 mobility. It doesn't, you shouldn't be looking at the bars. The bars really don't matter that much, in my opinion. What matters is how the weapon feels and how you like the weapon, and your understanding of, like, how you have your weapon set up. So, for the AK4D, the reason I'm going to use this weapon as a first example is this is an example of a weapon that benefits from the hollow point ammunition. I'll just go in the test range and show you. This guy is 10 meters away, and it is a 2-shot headshot with hollow point. If I were to remove hollow points, it becomes a 3-shot headshot, and this weapon has a very low rate of fire, so it actually does matter quite a bit. Now, what type of weapon is the AK4D? We'll just go back in the range. It's a very low rate of fire, high damage assault rifle. So with that in mind, I've gone with a scope, right? And scope's a personal preference. Doesn't really matter what you go with, but I like the 2.5x. Now, this is a very high damage, low rate of fire weapon. So you're going to want to be playing in that mid-range, which means suppressors are going to be very, very useful, specifically the lightened suppressor because it reduces recoil only at the cost of hipfire, which we're going to regain in the build a little bit later, on top of fully hiding spotting. There is a question or a confusion regarding what suppressors do versus what flash hiders do, because flash hiders also fully hide in-world spotting. The difference is suppressors fully hide in-world spotting and reduces the range where a soldier is spotted on the minimap while firing. I believe when using a suppressor, you're visible to anyone that is 15 meters or closer to you, and then with a flash hider, it's 30 meters and closer to you. So that is the big difference here, and of course the sound, which does make a massive, massive difference. And using a suppressor in CQC with some other weapons, which I'll talk about later, can make a massive difference. Now, on to the rest of this build. Because this is a low rate of fire weapon where it really matters, you have to hit your shots. Heavy barrel is going to be very, very important here. The reason why heavy barrel is very important is it basically improves your accuracy over extended periods of time while firing. You're more accurate while shooting for longer without burst firing, right? So that is absolutely massive for this weapon. And because it has a low magazine, you're just going to want to go with a 20 fast mag here. And then because you do have a little bit of extra points left over, you can either go with match trigger to improve weapon performance just in semi-auto fire. Sometimes tap firing can be useful. However, I went with the laser light combo because this thing not only has insane range damage, it's a guaranteed 4-hit body shot, it also has great hip fire. So this gun does it all, and that is how the thought process I use for this. Now, let's say you have a weapon with a nasty recoil pattern. I'll use the Cord, for example, and just for the sake of showing you guys, I'm just going to remove one thing here. So the Cord's recoil pattern is this. So it pulls pretty hard to the left, and some people even report while using it, it actually messes with their aim because they have to pull so hard to the right to counter the recoil that it's actually jarring. So in order to sort of tame weapons that have weird recoil patterns, number one, you're going to want to go in the range and figure out what the pattern is. Once you know the pattern, you know the attachments to go for. So for instance, on the Cord, using the converter or the compensated brake would be great attachment choices because if you read, the linear compensator reduces horizontal recoil in favor of a more stable vertical recoil. So I'll equip this and show you what it does. As you can see, that horizontal recoil has been tamed quite a bit, but the compensated brake gives you enhanced recoil buildup and improves recoil recovery in general. Look at this now. So it takes that pattern and it basically squishes it. So there we go. That is how to go to think about weapons that have pretty nasty recoil patterns. Now onto the carbines. Let's say you want to make a close quarters weapon and you don't know what to use, and you're like, okay, well, if I sacrifice this, this is bad, and I want this other stuff. I'm going to use the M4A1 for this example. The M4A1 is a very effective short-range carbine, 900 rate of fire, very, very fast reload. So for this build, because I'm going to be up in people's face, I decided I don't really care about anyone hearing me. I don't really care about, you know, anything other than hip fire and fast reload. So I'm going to go with a flash hider. So I'm still hiding myself while I'm shooting on the minimap and hiding that spot symbol above my head, but you don't necessarily need any of the suppressors or much recoil control, because we're going to focus this build mostly on hip fire and just snappy gameplay. So it has very, very fast aim down sight speed here, reload time, everything. One thing that is super important with weapons that you want to tailor to more CQC experiences, barrels can actually play a large part in hip fire. So if you read this, 11.5-inch commando barrel improves hip fire accuracy and enables a faster transition to ADS, reduces projectile velocity, which doesn't matter because we're going to be using this in CQC only, maybe mid-range a little bit. In order to improve this weapon's performance, you're going to want to actually do the laser light combination. Now, what does the light do? Why does this help hip fire? Well, it helps hip fire recovery. On top of the laser, just straight up increasing hip fire accuracy. So the result is you have hip fire that can do this. That guy, I think the guy's 50 meters away. Yeah, I mean, you guys get the point. The laser light combo is incredibly strong for any sort of hip fire build. Now, because this is an M4A1, and because we're going to be using the CQC, I want it to be pretty snappy in the gameplay. I want the reload to not take a lot of time. So with that in mind, I made sure I had points to get the 30-round fast magazine, and I'm actually using the magazine catch. Now, it's worth noting that if you don't want a sight and you don't want the magazine catch, you can actually go for a larger magazine and maybe even another laser. But again, it's personal preference. You know, do you like the iron sights of the M4? If so, you can take it off, right? And that frees up some points for you guys. It's just all about how you manage your points here. Now, the only thing left with this build is, of course, the recoil. So I just went with the slim angled. The reason why this grip is so good, in my opinion, is it provides a slight recoil control, slight to moderate. I find it does help quite a bit. It increases your weapon draw speed, which, of course, is very important in CQC. And it enables faster ADS and everything with no downsides. So that's a huge one. It doesn't have the aim down sights accuracy penalty. Now, let's say you don't want a super specialized weapon build like I just showed you for the M4A1, and you want a weapon that does it all. You need to understand that the things you're probably going to have to sacrifice are ammo type and mag size, and then past that, again, just accommodate the weapon's needs, but in general, you're going to want to have a laser, you're going to want to have recoil control, and you're going to want to have a suppressor slash flash hider. If you want to try to fit like a heavy barrel in there, depending on the weapon, and like I know the DRS is a super popular weapon that has a heavy barrel, probably just choose that. But again, I use the SG553 here because I feel like the carbines are those weapons that do everything super well. If you look here on the bottom right, it has a 3 BTK out to 5 meters with a 720 RPM, which means you are going to dominate CQC fights with this weapon. It does have really good hip fire. It has really fast reload time. It has decent muzzle velocity while retaining the suppressor without using a barrel. It has excellent ADS time, and it just really does it all, right? Now, if you want an example of a more like specialized weapon, some things like the Scar come to mind. If you take a look here, my Scar build isn't done, but you can get 1,000 meters per second muzzle velocity out of the SCAR, which is faster than the PSR at default, faster than the SV98, with the extended barrel, believe it or not, and it is faster than the M2010 ESR as well. So you are literally using a sniper rifle AR that just hit scans people. I mean, look. So to try to take note of little things like that when you're messing around with weapon builds. The SCAR for me right now is like that weapon that I pull out if I'm playing Mirac Valley and I want easy long-range hits, but I don't necessarily want to use like a DMR. Now, moving on to things like DMRs, SMGs, sniper rifles, and everything like that. For SMGs, again, it's pretty much the same thought process as ARs. Just understand that SMGs, especially after the Season 1 update, are going to be relegated to a more CQC role. So, again, it's just up to what you want. Do you want a suppressor? How much do you care about staying off the radar? For weapons like the SCW-10 and the KV-9, I'll just show you my vector build real quick, which isn't done, but I'm just going to explain the thought process. Because this weapon has such a horrible default magazine capacity, you're probably going to have to use one of these magazines. Now, for the SCW-10 and other very low magazine capacity weapons, I would recommend right now not going for the all-out, balls-to-the-wall, maximum magazine capacity selection, because it just costs way too much. I mean, think about it. 20 more points for what? 4 more bullets. It's absolutely not worth it. So, on weapons like the SCW-10, the Vector, other low magazine capacity weapons, I would go for the magazine upgrade, but not all the way. And then, of course, keep in mind SMG, CQC, all the other things I mentioned. Do you care about being suppressed? Do you care about hipfire? All that sort of stuff. Onto LMGs. There are a few weird ones in the LMG category. So the DRS IAR is this legit an AR disguised as a light machine gun. So if you want a pretty snappy gameplay light machine gun, the DRS is going to be what you're going to want to use. So I would build it for that, right? I would make sure the aim down sight speed stays pretty reasonable. I would put a heavy barrel on it to make sure it's really accurate. I would care about the hip fire. But for some of the longer range light machine guns, like for instance the M250, which if you did not know, has a guaranteed 4 bullet to kill in the chest across, I believe, the entire map. So for a weapon like this, you're not going to want to use it like the DRS. You're going to want to relegate it to a longer range role, right? You're going to want to care about the muzzle velocity. You're going to want to care about maybe the scope you're using, right? Don't care so much about hip fire. For DMRs, these are actually pretty unique. I haven't used them much, but from my SVK experience, I can tell you that the recoil recovery or the direction of the recoil pattern, like with a linear compensator, is going to be super important. So either you're going to want to go with the light and suppressor for recoil control at the cost of hipfire, which of course doesn't matter because this is a DMR, or you're going to want to go for the compensated brake because of recoil buildup and recoil recovery. If you don't know where recoil recovery is, do you see how long it takes me to reset to center? If I had that muzzle brake, it would basically reset faster and I would have less recoil, right? So for DMRs, it's worth considering. You're probably going to want to use either flash hider, any sort of compensated brake for recoil recovery, or just a straight up suppressor. It depends on how stealthy you kind of want to be. And past that, again, you're going to want to worry about what scope. Do you want to try to fit a thermal optic on here? Maybe some crazy like 10x or a variable zoom scope. You're going to have to move things around point-wise in your build. And finally, just for the sniper rifles here, you're going to want to consider the sweet spot distance, right? Sweet spot distance, the SV98 has a closer range sweet spot, 45 to 90 meters. This one I think is between like 80 and 100, and this one's like 75 to 150. So that kind of determines your sniper build, right? For the SV98, this is not going to be a weapon you're going to want to use at the longest of ranges. The PSR is probably going to be the best for that. But the SV98 you still want to keep to, you know, a sniper standard. So you're probably going to want to use some sort of a suppressor. You're probably going to want to definitely use the ADS bolt, which I don't have in the SV98, but I will show you on this weapon what it does. The ADS bolt is basically straight pull bolt. So it allows you to rechamber around without coming out of ADS, which is, of course, extremely strong. So there you go. I mean, that's pretty much it. You basically have to, you know, understand your weapon, what are the weapon's needs, and then tailor it to what you want the weapon to basically do. Like, are you struggling with the recoil? Are you struggling with the shitty hip fire or something like that? And always, always, always check in the test range if hollow point rounds actually matter, because in the case of the AK4D, they can be life-saving. They really can. If I didn't have hollow points, like I mentioned previously, this would be a 3-hit headshot, which is, of course, not great for a weapon that has 514 RPM. So there you have it. There's the thought process. I hope you guys understand this. If you guys want specific weapon builds, comment down below. Let me know what you want. Out of the weapons that I have leveled up, I think the NVO might be the first video that you guys are going to want. And I'll be going over this weapon and probably doing some gameplay. So if you enjoy the channel, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and of course, swing by streams. I do streams every single day at twitch.tv/enders and this YouTube channel. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.